Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel like you are not enjoying your life, or that there is some better way that you would love to be living your life, or what you would love to be doing? Well, Karen Theimer is all about freedom. My name is Charisse Walker, your host, and today we're going to talk about lots of different things, but especially figuring out how to love your life and what you can do again. So Karen, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Charisse, for having me as a guest on your podcast. And I'm excited to be here and just share whatever it is that I need to share and have a great conversation. A little bit about me. I started this journey in 2018. Really, I went on a healing journey because I was just so stuck. And for me, it was like I was mentioning to you earlier, I've had cancer, and thank God I'm cancer free for, I don't know, 12 years, 14 years, something like that. You lose track after a while. And I've gone through divorce, changed careers, gone back to school at the age of 40. I am now 59 and reaching 60 at one point this year. But anyway, and for me, it's just, in 2018, I went, okay, you know what? I'm stuck. I've been living in my past. I don't know how to move forward. I know there's so much more to life than what I'm living. And I went on a healing journey. I went, that's it. I don't know who's going to show up in my world. I just want someone to take me by the hand and point me in the right direction. So I had a friend of mine who introduced me to network marketing. From there, I met some amazing people who also guided me to a retreat where doing plant medicine and learning that we hold on to stuck memories in our cells, right? We hold on to memories in our cells. And who knows whose memories these are. It goes generation to generation. And then I started learning about stuck emotions and all these things that I believed in myself that weren't true. So then I hired a coach, an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming coach, who also helped me get unstuck and started learning more about my fears in life. And I just started diving deep into going, okay, there's more. What do I need to let go of? How do I move forward? How do I help people in a bigger way, on a bigger scale? I needed to learn. I had to get out of my way and not live in survival, live in thriving and all that. So that's the short version of my story. And from there, I decided to, I'm a massage therapist. I've been doing that for 18 years. I'm working on my exit out of massage. And I mean, I still want to do it, but just not as much as I do. And I'm also a freedom coach. I help women, mostly women who are maybe approaching their 50s, in their 50s, who are just looking to get unstuck and get out of that overwhelm without the guilt, without the shame, and helping them find their purpose. You know, maybe they're divorced, or maybe they're single, maybe they're an empty nester. So I do that. And then I also teach breath work. It's called Elemental Rhythm. It's fantastic. Again, it's helping people get unstuck, letting go of these emotions that we're so great at hanging on to and bearing. Don't show anger, don't show sadness, grow up, all that kind of thing. So yeah, and then the rest is history. I just keep growing and keep learning and doing my own work, and then helping people with letting go of their past.
There's so many things I want to talk about as you're saying that, because I relate. First of all, I just turned 50 in November, so I fit your demographic, right? And I'm glad we got the memo today as well. But I think that it's really true, because I started at 22, I started teaching college. And then by 30, I was directing the colleges, and I was opening up colleges and stuff. And then I loved what I did, and especially massage therapy. That was my very last school that I was the director of. And it was amazing. And so I think of all the programs, I mean, there probably was 40 programs that I was over. Massage was one of those that the students, when they graduated, I knew that they could make money and they wouldn't have to go get a job from somebody else if they chose to. If they became an entrepreneur. And it is so healing. I learned so many things. Like I used to have migraines all the time, and massage is one of those things that now every month I go get, because yeah, it's important and it's healing. And so I love that you've married the massage with the breath work, with the healing of the NLP, and doing all of that stuff because I can't tell you, from a person who was diagnosed with MS because of a horrible marriage that was so stressful. And when I say horrible, like we got along for the most part, but the stress of it, right? And now after that divorce, and I don't have MS anymore, like the stress on your body is so incredible. And like just a couple weeks ago, I went to the doctor and I'm like, I cannot stop these migraine headaches. They're killing me. Like it's days on end and I'm bawling because when you're in pain all the time. And so he's like, oh, well, you have so much, you're carrying so much in your shoulders. And so he's like, at night, take this pill, which I don't always like to do, but he's like, it's going to relax you and almost like a muscle relaxer, but it's not. And like, I took it, I was supposed to take it for a week. I only took it for 3 days because I was fine. And I honestly haven't had a headache since.
Oh, fantastic.
And so our bodies do, they carry so much and the memories. Can we talk about that? Because you talk about generational. And so how do you get rid of that?
So there's many different ways. I mean, most of the stuff that we think is, I'm going to do in quotations,
Yeah,
wrong with us.
right.
If you can label it, if you
Hmm.
say, this is what's wrong with me, I don't believe in myself because of blah, blah, blah,
Hmm.
that's not the issue. It goes even further back than that,
Interesting.
right? So, for instance, I like using, like, as an example, like addiction,
Hmm.
anxiety, or depression. It's like, which parent had that?
Yeah.
Which of their grandparents had that?
Hmm.
And who knows how many generations back, right? So it's just gone from generation. This is what I believe,
Right.
right? So it's just gone from generation to generation to generation. So it takes a certain somebody to go, I'm done. I'm done with the addiction. I'm done with the anxiety, depression, whatever it is for that person. It's time to make a change, right? I had so many weird fears around being tortured and like it would
Wow.
be almost, I don't want to use the word debilitating, but it would stop me from doing a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not like I've been tortured in life, not to the degree that my
Yeah.
brain taking me down, right? Like it was
Mhm.
weird. It was really weird. And then as I started on this journey with plant medicine and doing the coaching and that kind of thing for myself, I started learning that so my grandmother and my grandfather got taken away to the Holocaust. My
Wow.
dad got rescued when he was 13. I mean, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But however, what I learned was I was carrying my grandparents. My grandmother was a survivor. I was carrying my grandparents' fear because that's the torture,
Mhm.
right? And it was interesting to learn about that. However, how does that manifest in our body, for instance? Well, you could have stomach issues,
Mhm.
right? You could have these weird fears like I had, and I no longer have them, so I'm very grateful for that. Our body stores these traumas and these stuck emotions, what I believe manifests into dis-ease in
Right.
our body.
Mhm.
Like for instance, I had thyroid cancer. And
Mhm.
what I learned was that's around your voice not being heard, you not speaking your truth.
Wow.
Which I was like, well, that's fascinating. And it made complete sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm the baby of four. Nobody listens to the baby of four, the youngest, right? My siblings still don't listen to me, and that's okay.
Right.
That's a them problem.
Hmm.
However, uh, and me not using my voice and speaking my truth, what does that mean? When you say you're going to do something, are you doing it or are you not? Are you using your voice in a kind and compassionate way to somebody to speak your truth? Here, how you made from whatever this person did, this is how I felt. I don't like saying you made me feel this because nobody actually makes you feel anything. However, it's the using your voice saying, here's how I felt when you treated me like blah, right? Or if I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, then now I'm breaking trust with myself,
Hmm.
for instance, right? So I believe that all disease in our body manifests from something stuck in our cells, in our muscles, whatever that is.
That makes so much sense because I think about like I grew up pretty well to do, right? We never went without or anything like that. But my parents, my mom was okay, but my dad, like a horrible, very, very rough childhood. Just, oh, right? And I found myself when I was in a stressful situation in my life that I used to be like I wasn't diagnosed anorexic, but I was like starved myself all the time because that was my way of controlling the situation. But when I came out of that, clearly I was healed from that because I gained a whole bunch of weight. I went the opposite when a certain somebody that I absolutely loved became very, very degrading, I turned to eating because that way I wouldn't say anything. So I gained a lot of weight for a little while. And then I thought, okay, so what's going on with me? And once I was like able to kind of like, you know what, this isn't okay anymore. And I don't deserve this. And I don't need to do this. I don't need to punish myself. It's not my fault. And this isn't true what they're saying. I was able to break that. And so it's very interesting how, like with my dad, because he didn't have anything growing up, he kind of holds on to things, especially if there's memorable things. So he has a lot of antiques from his grandparents, from his father, from his brother, like, and all these things mean stuff. And so I found myself, oh, I have to hold on to this, or I have to hold on to this because this means something. And you don't. But
Well,
it's this learned behavior that I'm like, wait a second. And subconsciously or consciously, it's just interesting how you start to carry things on and it becomes genetic. In my book, I talk about the fourth turning and how it usually takes 4 generations to make a change. And
makes sense.
it does. And finally somebody, and you start going up the wrong, and then finally someone's like, why are we doing this? I don't like this anymore. And then they're able to break that habit. But it does, it's generational. So I
Yeah.
love to talk about that.
Yeah, we carry a lot. I mean, I'm definitely not an expert, and I would love to check out your book.
Yeah.
So please share with that with me
Yeah.
afterwards.
Mhm.
Or share with everybody here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's so much we don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's important if we want a better life
Hmm.
than what we already have, then we have to change. We
Right.
have to make a change. We have to get to a
Yes.
point where it's like, I need to stop blaming other people.
Exactly.
So easy to blame everybody else. However, we're an adult now, right?
Hmm.
Well, somewhat. I don't know about my maturity, but no. But like at one point, it's like, okay, I got to take ownership
Yeah.
of myself. I took on a belief. I didn't have a great relationship with my dad, and I took on a belief he didn't like me.
Hmm.
And this is why we would fight all the time because he didn't want me. This is the story I created in my head of
Hmm.
he doesn't want me, he doesn't love me, all this. However, I knew how to push his buttons.
Uh,
And for me, I didn't care what kind of attention, even if he hit me. It's like, okay, well, this is attention, right? I didn't realize that at the
mhm.
time, realize this down the road.
Yeah.
And I worked on a lot of forgiveness on myself, on him. What did he know about raising kids as he was taken away, like I mentioned earlier, from
Yeah.
his family at the age of 13? He had to grow up real fast.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've heard of the Akashic Records.
Mm-mm.
I don't even know how to explain that, but it's like they go into your soul's path or something. Anyway, it's fascinating.
Mhm.
It's very cool to listen when they open up these records. However, I wanted to know, I believe we have contracts with one another, soul contracts. And I wanted to know the contract that I had with my dad.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, like what is, and it's just more like curiosity, just another piece of the puzzle. Depends on what you believe in. I'm open to, let's see where this goes, right? If
Mhm.
it just makes sense. And I learned because he showed me the dark. Like he had a lot of darkness in his world, and I came into this world with a lot of light.
Yeah.
So she was saying that our contract was to show us the contrast, like he had too much dark, I had too much light, and that's why we clashed. And my lesson through all this was supposed to learn about compassion. I'm sure there was a lot more to it, but it made so much sense to me. Before he passed away, he had dementia, and when
Mm.
he was like completely gone, well, we think they are, but they're not. I remember coming back from a retreat, and all I wanted to do was see my dad and say, I'm sorry, I forgive you, and I forgive myself,
Mhm.
right? Because you take on a belief, right? And we have to forgive the other person. It doesn't mean that that was the right way of handling things, but we still have to work on forgiveness. So I went up to my parents' place afterwards. This is going back in 2019, I guess. And I said to my dad, I said, Dad, I'm sorry, I love you, whatever it was that I needed to say to him, right? I forgive you, I forgive me. And all of a sudden there was a smile. I will never forget that. This
Mm.
smile on his face that said, it's about time. And I'm like, you bugger, you're still in there. Right. It was shortly after that he
Yeah.
passed. It
Wow.
felt good to let go of this
Mhm.
anger I was hanging on to. So, yeah.
So I wasn't pitching my book, but everything you're talking about is totally that, because it's called flipping the iceberg. And we have these traumas in our life that we don't see it because 10% of an iceberg's above water, 90% is below. So if we can flip it, we can see those traumas that are affecting our lives. Like your relationship with your dad, you probably didn't realize how much it affected you. And when you were able to finally forgive him, how you could free yourself. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times, like if you were to think, and you meaning the audience, if you were to think of somebody that wronged you, because I had someone pop in my head right away, right? She was like, well, I won't even say it. So this person that I've tried to forgive, but I'm still hurt by what she did. And I promise you, it has been years upon years upon years, right? We're going on decades. I don't think she ever gets up in the morning, ever, first of all, thinks about me. Second of all, what she did to me. And third of all, like, does she even care? Right. So it's like I've been holding on to something that has really actually affected my confidence in a lot of things. And she doesn't even know. She's not even aware. So it's holding me back. It's not holding her back. And I think of those kids, those 2-year-old toddlers that the mom, my husband, this happened to him because he's the only boy. So his mom would always lay in bed and she didn't, long story. So she tied him to a tree so that he couldn't go anywhere further than the rope from the tree, right? And so, um, yeah, sad story. But my husband's really doing well for a lot of the stuff he's been through. But anyway, it's kind of like that. You're tethered to a memory, you're tethered to an experience. And as soon as you can let go of that, like I love your plaque in the back that it says freedom starts now, because it's true. You have to be able to move forward. And if not, it's on you to be able to do that. Like one of the things I think we're put on this earth to do is learn how to forgive.
Yes.
Because, if you want to get religious, Christ said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they did. Like those are almost his last words that he says in this life. Like the torture that he went through is unbearable, unbelievable. And yet his last words are forgive them. That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I think we're brought into this world. Again, everybody, we all have our own beliefs of what we think the model of the world is,
Mhm,
what our belief around that. And I think we come into this world to have experiences, to have lessons,
mhm.
to understand emotions,
Right.
like there's something, right? And and how to navigate this way. I say we're in university to be a human,
Yeah.
right? But I
Yeah.
also say this world is a giant playground too. So, but I think as we grow up, we're meant to have these experiences, good, I hate using the word bad, but I'm going to use it anyway, good, bad, indifferent,
Mhm.
and to get our lessons from it.
Yeah, I agree.
And some people I
100%.
think are going to be just stuck and there's a fear of change
Yeah.
because we are creatures of habit. I just know you need to get to a point, who's ever listening, get to a point where you're like, I'm done. I've had enough of this. There's got to be more to life.
Mhm.
Because for me, it is about the freedom. It's about
Mhm.
having those choices and have fun, right? I
Yeah.
think a lot of people get so stuck in fear, especially right now. There's a lot of fear going around
Yeah.
that it's like, okay, well, do you want to live in fear or do you want to live in love and peace and be able to enjoy life?
Mhm.
Because fear will get you stuck every single time. No ifs, ands, or buts on that.
And I think if we're going into it again, birth order, because you said
Yeah.
you're the baby. And so I see that because you talk about light. As the baby, they're brought into this world to make joy because like the firstborn's like, we got to do it, and you got to do that's right. And then if the firstborn doesn't do that because the birth age is so close together, then the second person's going to do that and they're going to take on this other role. And it's interesting that we all need each other. We all play these different roles in a family. And it is. We are supposed to enjoy. So those firstborns or those serious people, like you are supposed to enjoy your life too. And if you're
Yeah.
not enjoying your life, I think that's kind of your goal, right? Is to help people figure out how to be happy and go through life.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like I find with coaching, I love it. Like I absolutely love the coaching. I love the
Mhm.
breath work. And I love it when people say after a session, for instance, going, "Oh, Karen, you were pissing me off. I hate you, but I love you at the same time, and thank
Uh-huh.
you," right?
Mhm.
Because there's certain techniques where I'm just repeating the same
Mhm.
thing over and over and over till I see that they get the root to whatever it is, right? And it's funny because they get annoyed with me and all this, and it's like, and all I just say is good, 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 right? So anyway, but then once they get their aha, then it's like, oh, I get it now. And I just love it when you just see them light up
Mhm.
and realize that, okay, this isn't how I thought this was gonna go.
So
So
when people come to you, what are they struggling with?
well, mostly, like I said, women who are just stuck and going through, a lot of times there's anxiety along with it. They're looking for another way of living. They have all these dreams and things
Mhm.
they want to do, but there's a fear that's stopping them. Of I
Yeah.
can't do this, I'm not good enough. They don't have the confidence. So I help people 10x their confidence,
Hmm.
right? 'Cause most people have confidence in something,
Right.
somewhere. But this is just taking their confidence level to a whole, or taking their confidence to a whole other level by doing simple steps. And those little steps can turn into something huge. Like, for instance, I had a client the other day. She might be getting laid off from work. She's, I don't know, 50 something. I can't remember exactly. Doesn't matter, but in their 50s, single mom. And she wants to build her business in photography and Reiki.
Hmm.
And so one of her tasks was, okay, finding out what's stopping her and, all these little things, getting to the root cause of this, of not feeling worthy, not good enough, to flipping that. And I said, okay, well, here you go. You're going to go get your Reiki room finished. That's a task. And I want to see a picture before and after. So there's one task. And then she's almost finished it, which is exciting because it gets
Good.
that person excited about it. And I
Mhm.
said, I want you to go find 3 people and practice your Reiki on and don't charge them. Like, just let's rip off the Band-Aid,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's going through different steps to
Right.
get there as
Hmm.
well, right? Anyway, and I said, and I'm going to be your first person because I could use some Reiki done on me too.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to be your first person, and we're going to book the date today. So we did. And this was, I think, a week or two ago. Anyway, and it was amazing because you could feel her nervous. She wanted to cancel and she didn't. So I said, I'm glad you didn't because I was really looking forward to this session. And just make it nice and light and playful, right? So then I said, so anyway, she came in and you could feel the nervousness at the beginning, but like within like 5, 10 minutes, she got her groove back. And
Good.
she was amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh. And, give her a tiny little bit of feedback and you could feel the nerves a bit, but you could feel also when she felt comfortable. And she was so proud of herself.
Mhm.
And she's excited now because the room is almost finished. She's got
Yay.
the 2 other people that she's going to practice on. And then I said, and then I want you to charge because that's what somebody did with me with the coaching. I took the coaching program. I did nothing with it. I was afraid. I felt like an imposter. What do I know? Who's going to listen? Who's going to pay all the chatter?
Mhm.
And a friend of mine who's been doing coaching for a long time said, Karen, why are you not doing this? Well, this is why. I feel like this. Okay, good. Go find 3 people and do it for free. Do a breakthrough for free. And after the first one, to build your confidence, so I'm like, oh, I can do that. That was easy. After the first one, part way through, I was like, oh, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. Right?
I know you
So,
got to take the leap, and as soon as you take the leap, then it's like, why didn't I do that? I have
right?
this thing about mailing letters. Like I'll write letters all the time. I write blah blah blah, but walking out to the mailbox is I just don't do it, and I'll put it off for days. And so when I finally walk out, I'm like, why didn't I just do that? I mean, that's ridiculous, right? It's
It's
our
so fun.
brain. They just constantly tries to stop us from doing the little things. It's
Yeah.
take a walk to the mailbox, right?
I teach people about the awareness as well of the, I call it the monkey mind, the one that's going to take you on a heck of a journey,
Yeah.
right? Not a journey you really want to go to, but it will take you there, right? That's the ego as well. So I teach people that and how to quieten the mind. I don't know if you can actually turn it, well, maybe some people can turn it off. I haven't
Yeah.
mastered that one,
Good
but I
luck.
can
Yeah.
quieten it. So
Right.
you can hear the answers that are going to take you on the right journey and understand what emotions are about.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so our time is almost up. I want to switch gears for a second, and I want to talk about because you've been doing your business for a while. You've
Yes.
had the freedom from your job, and now you've created this coaching program. And so, what do you wish you would have known that you know now when you were starting out?
To get out of my way faster. I
Okay.
think really understanding. understanding the emotions and the awareness of our thoughts. Like if I had known this back then, if I was taught this
Mhm.
and be okay with showing emotions and understanding what emotion I'm feeling,
Mhm.
I think that would help you fast forward things or do things a lot quicker.
Yeah.
That's what I believe is allowing, like even with kids, allow them to have the emotion and finding a way to speaking to them. What are you feeling? What's
Mhm.
this about, right?
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So if our listeners wanted to find you because they're listening and they're going, oh, I'm so tired of my life. I want to change, then how do they find you?
So you can go to my website, KarenTheimer.com. I
Mhm.
do have a free PDF, so feel free to download that. You can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, mostly Facebook, but I am on Instagram as well under Karen Theimer. And feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation, book a call, and
All
let's
right.
dive a bit deeper into that.
I love that. And I love what you're doing because I really do think that there's a lot of unhappy people out there right now and
Yeah,
it's an unsure time. And so to try to find, as I say, that's the whole purpose of this podcast is find your peace, your passion, and your purpose. And if you can do those three things, then you will have the life that you wanted and you can have it. It is possible. And I think a lot of people are like, oh no, because I am a single mom or because, but really, if you're called to do something and you have a purpose and you find that purpose, it'll work out the way that it's
absolutely.
supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down, it will. You don't have to know the how.
Yeah.
Just try.
Well, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Charisse, for having me on here. I hope I've inspired somebody or helped somebody motivate, and I look forward to staying connected.
Yes, definitely. And any last parting words you want to share that I didn't ask and you wish I would have?
Not that I can think of. I think we had a great conversation, and just really, who's ever listening, find that joy,
Yeah.
find some peace. Maybe it's taking a walk in the woods, maybe it's, reading a book, but find that moment, be present. That's the biggest thing is just be in the moment. And it really is a thing.
Very, very true. So listen up, moms, and take the advice. Find your happiness and go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.